Well, I'm going to officially introduce you. We are 1 minute away, but I mean, we're early and I love it. And so I want to honor your time. Everyone, I am super excited to introduce to you one of my friends, but she is just extraordinary in so many things. And you might know her because I've been talking about her a lot on my Instagram page, as a singer, as a songwriter, and as an entrepreneur as well. And we'll kind of get into that and what that means and looks like. But I want to introduce to you all Bianca Rose.
Hello. Hi. All the way here in the UK, it's very dark. It's not that time.
So this is the thing. She's been so gracious because I actually told her the wrong time for this interview.
I mean, it wasn't like, oh, yes, 5 hours, some other kind of time.
I literally, I mean, for you guys that don't know, I am shooting this basically a little outside of Los Angeles. So I'm on that Pacific Standard Time. And are you near London? What's that safe to say? Yeah. So technically that is 8 hours ahead of me. I was thinking 7. And anyway, so she's super gracious, but thank you for being with us.
We haven't spoken for ages, so this can be our catch up.
It is, seriously. And yes, Ayana, we are now officially live on Facebook. So if you want to chime in on the chat on Facebook, we are there. I want to just say a quick hello to Dustin. I see you. Osea. I see you. Jeannie. I see you. And Dee. What's up? Thanks for the support, you guys, for watching this live. And if you are watching this on replay, I don't want to forget about you. Just put #replay in the comments. And I go through these comments after the end of the videos and reply to you guys as well. And Bianca is free to answer anything that she wants to answer if you have something that doesn't get answered that we can't get to, because she's also a wife and a mom, you guys. Like, she's doing all the things, and which kind of leads me to my first question. What does life look like for you right now in the midst of all this?
I mean, I'm a homeschooling mum right now. Was not by choice, by force is what is happening right now. And it's funny because before I've got a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. They're about to be 5 and 7. No, 4-year-old. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And when I was pregnant with my first, I was like, oh, I might homeschool. I was all like crunchy and just like, And then as soon as my children, school, we're gonna find the best school. We're gonna go to school.
Yes.
So I'm living my homeschool dreams right now.
Are you?
I'm not. No. No, the dread of it, is worse than reality, because actually we're having a good time together.
Good.
Like, it is quite bonding. We're growing. We are, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we are truly making memories that we wouldn't have otherwise made together. Obviously, there's lots of times out and things like that, but the good outweighs the bad.
Awesome. Good. How's Kenny, your husband? That's her husband, everyone.
And he's fine. I mean, his life goes on. He's working from home in his little room, comes down in the evening. He's fine. He's great. I think I am a homebody, so self-isolating just feels like life. And
exactly. Hi, Ebony.
Hey, what's the problem, guys? But he likes to be out more often than not, so it's starting to where he needs to take those walks, but he's fine.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm a homebody, so this is like, I was like, literally my routine is not changing.
What's changed? I mean, if I didn't have then it would be like, this is life, but normal life. But now it's like, okay, the work that I do, I have to do it on the weekends and in the evening. There isn't that time, and I have to give it to the girls, and it's fine.
Yeah. How is the climate, not just the weather, but I just mean like socially in the UK right now, in London with everything? Because I know we see stuff like on the news And and so I'm just curious, because you're there, you're in the midst. Like, I just came back from being at my city and just picking up some some takeaway food, and there's so much tension. I mean, people have masks on and gloves, but there's also, you can feel, at least in my smaller city, this fear that's a little bit palpable, which when I'm in the shelter of my home, and I'm playing worship music, and I'm feeling peace, and I'm talking to people like you, and I don't watch the news constantly. I'll get my daily update, in my email of kind of like the major points. But I want to know from you, like, what's it like, really?
It's interesting, because I feel like when you're self-isolating, your environment is the one that you create, because you're not with everyone else and impacting your atmosphere, apart from what you intake via the news and social media and things like that. So I feel like you create your space. And I feel like, for me, I think, as with what you just said, I made a decision about 2 weeks ago that I might look at the headlines in the morning, and then there's a government briefing in the evening. That's about it that I'm doing with Corona. I'm not like
with Corona.
I'm doing it all day, blow by blow, because I think it inspires fear. When I do venture out to do the shop and things like that, I don't know, I'm not sensing mad fear. I think the British way is to kind of laugh a lot of things off, where, like, but the face mask, I am really super cautious of everything, and I think everyone's doing that. I think that stiff upper lip thing is real for us, and we just keep calm and carry on. But everyone, I think the news is how, it inspires you to be afraid of where this can go. And I think I'm managing that myself by just shutting the door to it more often than not.
Yeah. And for those that are listening, I feel like that's a really great piece of wisdom, to really create healthy boundaries in terms of what you're listening to in this season. And you're going to have to kind of be hard-headed, disciplined, and protective about creating those boundaries, because it's a little bit there's that tension. You can feel that. But yeah, that's oddly encouraging to me. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that it's not to also dismiss, like, the gravity of the situation, because Absolutely. I think I've been aware of the fact that, because this virus has not touched me or anyone that I know or my immediate environment, it can be quite easy for me to not take it as seriously as it is, or as it is for other people. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm not in the age group or have the conditions where I would be most at risk, and I don't really know many people who, in my environment, it's easy for me to not lean into the fear and to be like, guys, but it's real for a lot of people. So I'm grateful to the NHS. I've got friends who are nurses, midwives, who are there on the front lines, and I'm so grateful for them. But yeah, the fear thing, I just don't need it changing my day. So I am quite search and destroy about it at this point.
Really, y'all caught that. Yeah, I want to give some more shout outs. I saw some more people join us. Aiden, hello. Lorenzo, Michelle, hello, welcome. You can see Bianca's beautiful face on Facebook. So on my Facebook page, we are currently going live. So if you have anything that you want to chime in and ask, you can, feel free, or just enjoy our conversation, because we are catching up. And I love this one. I'm just going to interject, because I want people to know, everyone that's listening knows I'm, a Christian, and this is meant to inspire those in the faith space and outside of the faith space. Like, I have friends that I love that are not believers, that are not Christians. And I have friends that I love that are Christians. But everyone that knows me, they know what's going to pour out of me, is this. And so I just preface that, because it's kind of a God story of how I even met you. And I want to just show people really quickly. And hey, Russ, hello. Thank you for joining us. We're live actually on Facebook. But I want to actually show people this picture that I saw of you. I saw of you, I think it might have been 2 years. Yeah. Let's see if I can do my technology thing, because I put this in a folder just for your interview. So stand by 1 second. those that were with me last week with Mike, you saw how I pulled up those paintings. Well, I'm going to do the same thing for Bianca, because it just kind of blew my mind to kind of look at that. Yeah. So here we go. So there's this picture, and then there's a lot of technology that I'm trying to do for you guys. So stand by. Because I want that picture up. We're going to close that. And I'm going to share my screen, and you let me know if you can see this picture in about 3 seconds.
Oh, yeah. There it is. There it is. I'm wearing the shirt, and I actually wasn't intentional, but I'm wearing it now. And then when I was kind of getting myself together, I was like, okay.
Oh, my goodness.
I honestly, it wasn't intentional at all.
This is a trip.
Yeah.
This is a trip. Okay, you guys. So this picture that you're seeing on your screen, and for those that are going to listen to this later as a podcast, I'll leave a link to this photo so you can see what we're talking about in this segment, but in this portion. I happened to see this photo, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this girl is just gorgeous. And everything from the fashion, the hair, like the pose, like everything. And so I remember, I think I pinned this on Pinterest or something like, and I left a comment because I have a board on Pinterest that is basically like hair inspiration and like, beautiful Black beauties, like that type of thing. And I tagged this, I think probably like 2 years. Okay, whatever, like 2 years before I met you. I know I kind of just, gave the whole tagline to this whole thing. But so I saw this randomly on the internet, didn't know you from anyone. And then I'm just going to make this super condensed. You guys, if you ever want to ask me this full story, we could talk about it later. But through a series of events of me connecting with a church that wasn't even my home church in Camarillo during a time. Someone from Bianca's church was visiting. This is all, they're coming from London to LA. I happened to be at this church during that time, connect with them, and then end up going to do a ministry type trip in London and help serve at this conference. And then I see Bianca because she's a friend of the friend that I met in LA that is from London. And I see Bianca, and I was like, why do I, like, she looked so, it was like the deja vu, the stereotypical deja vu. And it was her. It was the girl that I had clicked on that I just felt like, too, there was so much life on you. I didn't even know what you did. I mean, I'm drawn to music anyway, but didn't know any of that. And God supernaturally connected us about maybe a year after. Ebony says she loves that shirt. She loves your shirt. Hi, Brooke. Hi, Greg. But like that has happened to me, I think, on one other random occasion where the Lord has supernaturally, I've seen someone from afar, didn't know them, and then I bump into them, and then it becomes this incredible like testimony and relationship to my heart. And so I just wanted to give you guys that are listening the backstory. Like she's just not, I mean, no one's just a regular person, but she's just not a regular person to me. She's literally like a sign and a wonder. And I know we don't have time to get into it tonight or today, but you and Kenny are literally one of my favorite couples on the planet. Like, you are just one of my favorite couples on the planet. And when I say that you are a sign and a wonder, it's so funny. Like, you are the gift that keeps on giving. Like, I thought like the sign and wonder was just meeting you like in person, this person that I'd seen. There was no name attached to this picture, by the way, everyone. It was just her photo. And then the fact that, oh, you're a singer, you're a songwriter, you're an artist. Oh, and you're a woman of faith. You love God. Oh, and it just kept expanding. And then when I got to spend time with you and Kenny just a couple years back, I was just like, yeah, Jesus, I want this. And so I say all that, like, what would be, I want us to, at some point, and I'm gonna have to interview you again, Bianca, on season 2 or 3 of this. Because I want relationship advice. I love talking about relationships. I've been like, the perpetual single person forever, but the Lord has kept my heart from becoming bitter. And I love celebrating love. I love celebrating godly romance. And one of my other questions that I want to lead into, and I promise we will talk about music, everyone. If you have music questions, go ahead. I will hit that up. And I'm going to actually...
stuff is just as fun, if not more. So, I'm sure everyone is it's fine. We're talking about this too.
Okay, good. Okay, hope everyone is. Hey, Sarah, welcome. We are on Facebook if you guys want to chime in and join us there. But also because I'd like for you to sing at my wedding. I don't know if I told you this. Yeah.
No, but yes. Yes, girl.
Okay. So, you can pray about that if you're open to that, but I would love.
Pray about it. I'm there.
You heard it here first, everyone. She's going to be singing at my wedding. And because the reason being, I so look up to your marriage and just your relationship. And I know nothing is perfect. I'm not under any illusion.
Yeah, I'm just like, girl.
No, I'm not. No. I'm not under that illusion. But what would be some good marriage advice that now that you've been married? Let us know how long you've been married, and you mentioned that you have kids. And then after you give us some marriage advice, I want you to give me some dating advice. What should I be looking for that I don't know yet?
Okay, so this year will be our 10th year wedding anniversary. 10 years. I know, it's mad. And marriage advice. We have really long haul thinking, we're in this. So it's a decision that we made, and I'm making that decision. So so then when we're going through something, we know we've just got to go through that thing, because we're not going anywhere, are we? So, so it does help you to have a long vision when the today things are happening.
Okay.
Okay. There's that. Also that I think, because we're starting to do a lot of pre-marriage counselling, couples who are engaged and married, newlyweds, and what we're discovering, and it's true for us, is that compatibility has very little to do with longevity in a marriage.
What?
There's that go compatibility, how compatible or not compatible you are, it bears very little on how much you're going to make it. It's your ability to be able to work on the stuff and to decide that you're gonna put in the work in your relationship, work on yourself, dig in. Those are the things. Your ability to grow in that is what's really going to keep you on the long run. Not even the fact that you're the same, or you've got the same interests, or we just talk the same way. I mean, we're just that stuff is it's very far down on the list of statistics in terms of relationships that work. And so my thing would be to look for somebody that is willing to do the work, and who's quite real about the fact that marriage is something that you have to put your best effort in, and it's a joy to do that. And the reward is that we'll still be doing this year on year on year, and hopefully we'll be getting better for it. That's what I would say.
That is, wow, that's brilliant. Wow. So compatibility, in terms of a lot of times what we're looking for, or what we think we're attracted to, is not the thing that necessarily keeps.
Yeah. Me and Kenny couldn't be more different. I know that when I say something, I literally know the opposite that he has. He's going to say that. He's going to everything he does is opposite, But he's an outward processor. I am not. Everything. We're just completely the opposite human. But we love each other, and we love the things that we love about each other aren't the things that are the same, his qualities that I love are not the ones that I have or are my strengths, and we're really different. He's, we're still good because he's a very patient guy, and God is good. I need a very patient guy he teaches me to do the work. He teaches me to be patient. I'm better because of him, so.
Wow. Yeah. How can you find out if someone, what would be some clues if someone is willing to put in the work in if you're in the dating phase, what kind of clued you in when you were dating Kenny that he would be willing to do the work?
Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't have clues. Not until we were engaged, because we broke up a lot of times. We broke up a lot of times. Like, the person who he is and who I felt that God was showing me he wasn't actually the person that was in front of me when we were going out. So I could like see when he was going to break up with me. You know, I could see the breakup about to happen. Oh, there we go. Yeah, bye. You know, and because I think for him there was a thing of like, when I meet the person, it's going to be great and it's going to be amazing. Whereas when we met, we were just like, there was a lot of, we had really real conversations, so it was a lot of kind of friction, but then felt that this was right and it was God, so it was weird. So I think for him there was a growing into the fact that our relationship was going to be great, but it's not always going to be easy, and that's also God. But as soon as we were engaged, when we eventually got to that place, like he was the person he always was. I was able to see who he really was, because he had set this place of like, it's us forever. So I would say that I don't know always, like, in that moment. I think for me it's a lot to do with my relationship with the Lord, and it was weird when we broke up. I didn't feel peace, even though I was like, I don't understand why you want me to be with this guy, because this isn't working. So my journey is a lot to do with like, Lord, you have to steer this, because I don't know where it's going. But I do think that trying to look, I mean, when we do pre-marriage counselling, like, you can kind of tell. It's weird how much you can tell when things are, this is not going to work out. So you have this thought, and I think it's a lot to do with the ability to be able to work together and to be mature about stuff, and like the love and the sparks and all of that. It's like, okay, cool, that's going to be there, you know, when you're at each other or you're in those, like, okay, that's that. But it's how you're interacting and how you're willing to grow, and there's lots of that sort of thing that I think is really important.
That's so good. That I know some of y'all are getting this relationship wisdom with me as well. I just appreciate that. Like, I want to keep going on that, but like, I'm going to save that for season 2 or season 3 because.
Okay, Kenny, he'll come in. He's great. Like, he's the guru guy, like Enneagram, you know, and he teaches me to, when we're doing pre-marriage counseling, he's like, Bianca, just listen for, when you want to talk, just decide to listen for a bit longer. I'm like, but it's true. He's very good. He's the guy. You want to get him on.
Okay, season 2, we're gonna get Kenny. And then I think season 3 we'll do you both together, because I want to see, like, I'm getting the female perspective. I like to get the male perspective, and then I want to see your dynamic.
Got a lot of gems. He's great.
Wow, cool. Well, gosh, you guys know that, like, that's my jam when we start talking about relationships and people that are in it, and that she's still smiling. Everyone, like, she's actually, like, it seems like she's still in love. Like,
I do. Like, it's not easy all the time, but I do. I am grateful for him and who he is, and I know that, like, he's a great guy, and I'm blessed, and I'm like, Lord, you've done me a solid. You did me good. Know what I've got, and he's good people.
In
that awful lot more, but he's great.
See, yes, Kenny, all the love, all the shout outs for you, man. Well, okay, I want to get into your music now. We're gonna start rounding this interview up a little bit, but man, when I first heard your voice, like, the texture of your voice, to me, there's nothing like it on planet Earth. I mean, you might sound like someone, or someone might sound like you, but man, I mean, a lot of us have listened to a lot of music, and there's something when, you know, there's a voice that's distinctive, it stands out, and not only does it stand out, but it moves your soul and it touches your spirit, and your voice does that. And so for anyone that's not listened to any of Bianca's music, I would highly encourage you to check that out. But I'd love for you to share a little bit of how did you discover your voice, and then lead us into this company, this collective that you have now called I Am Independent as well.
Okay, thank you for the compliment, and I really appreciate it, because my voice is the thing that I have more confidence in it now, but it's the thing that I have the least confidence in with regards to my musical journey.
Really?
And I kind of bury myself in songwriting and making sure that I write, the best songs, because then, if anything, at least the song, the lyric, the music, the journey, that's going to impact you, even if my voice doesn't. And that's kind of what I more believe that early on in my journey. And I've grown to love my voice, but it's just because it's different from what you expect from somebody who looks like me. I wanted the big voice to do all the things. I can do a few things, you know what I mean? But I can't do all the things. So
you're doing things. You are doing things. She's doing things.
But do you know what I mean? I can't just think of anything that I want to do vocally and just do it. You know what I mean? There's limitations. It just is. So I started wanting, I grew up and I wanted to be a barrister. I wanted to do law. And I think I just said it, and then I decided, and then when I was young and I kept on saying it, people were impressed. It was impressive. Yeah. So I was on that track. And university, and I started doing it, and I was like, no, this is not what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then kind of the only thing that I always loved to do was music. So I started down that track. I quit uni, started to do music, wrote some awful R&B, and eventually was given a guitar. That changed the game. Started writing songs.
How old were you when you got the guitar?
About 22, 23, something like that. A bit later in the day, usually, people start earlier. But I just started teaching myself, and then just going into this whole independent journey of just wanting to find a way to do this music thing. I wanted to be a star. I wanted to be famous, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I continuing on and finding God in my journey, and him speaking to me about it, that this desire is not just mine, it's something he wants. This community and this industry is a part of the journey that he has for me, really has helped me to stay in it and grounded. It's very hard. So I've just been making music for a long time. I took a long break, got a bit discouraged and depressed. Then I got married, had the girls, and then still feeling like I'm still supposed to be doing this. Like, how am I doing this with a family now, Lord? Like, seriously, this is not the time. You should have been telling me. Do you know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
But I feel like it's more for now, because I have a family and because I have children.
Wow.
Because there's so many women and girls and just young people, all different ages, who, like, when they feel like they don't want to do it, they say, yeah, but Bianca's doing it. Bianca's, when they feel like it's so hard, they tell me, like, yeah, but Bianca's got 2 kids and she's doing the music thing. So I feel like part of me doing it in this season is to help others to live out their dream, whatever season they are. If they feel like it's for them, then you can. There's a grace for it if you're in the season you're supposed to be doing something. So out of the difficulty of creating music, releasing music, touring, doing all those sorts of things, and doing it alone, I wanted to create an environment where anybody else who is doing it alone is able to find community. You can be independent, unsigned, but you don't have to be alone in the journey. So myself and my business partner have created a company called I Am Independent, where we create content and we do workshops and we do some coaching and all sorts of different things to help independent artists to grow. And if they have a question, if they want to find something out, hopefully our business and our platforms, they'll be able to find that answer and that support. We get industry experts in. A lot of what we do is sharing from other artists. So we get other artists in, we interview them, our podcast things, and it's just something that is just for independent artists, because usually signed artists are the ones that get the attention and the love and the help, and we are generally the bottom of the pack, but we're the ecosystem and we just want to help that. So yeah, we're just elevating the independent artist.
I love that. Oh, so where can people find out more about I Am Independent? Are you guys on the socials and things?
We're mainly on Instagram, and there we are. Our handle is We Are Independent Artists. We have a website, iamindependent.co.uk. We have a Patreon page. We've got all the things. You'll be able to find us. You can find us through my socials as well. So.
And is it mainly for UK artists, or how does that work? Or people in Europe, or how does that work?
It's for artists anywhere. Obviously, we are in the UK, so in terms of face-to-face and how we can help artists one-on-one, it's a UK thing, but we run workshops as well. But we're trying to transition into doing online workshops so that anyone can tap in at any time. And it's everywhere. The information is not UK specific at all. You know, an independent artist in the UK is the same as an independent artist in another country, and we need the same help. It's just as difficult and all these different things.
Yes. So for all of you musicians that are listening to this, and those that know, you know, people that are out there on their grind and also trying to tour but need a sense of community as well, I would highly recommend you guys linking up with Bianca and also I Am Independent. Just such a great resource. I want to know, if you could do anything right now, what would it be?
Well, career-wise, or just like in this moment?
Let's go with both.
Okay. Well, in this moment, I would be at a restaurant or something, you know what I mean? Good food. So, can you believe that? It's like, oh, that's the thing you'd want to do right now. It's like not possible. Like, yeah, I'd be sitting somewhere. I'd be at my favourite Nigerian restaurant.
Come on.
Eat that food.
Yeah.
Career-wise, I feel like I'm doing what I want to be doing. I just want to be doing it better and be more centrally in the things that I'm doing, you know. I feel like being an artist and helping artists are the things that I love to do. So I don't know if I'd be doing anything else, to be fair. Sorry.
I like that. You mentioned earlier that you and your husband helped to do like pre-marriage counseling. I just want to touch on that for people that have never even heard of that. Like, what does that mean?
Well, I think it's interesting because for every other thing we want to do in life, right?
Yeah.
We kind of ourselves, so we just kind of get a bit of help with that, you know what I mean? But we want to get married and we believe we want to do that forever, but yet we're just going to do that thing. So there are couples who like want to help to make a success of their desire and decision to spend the rest of their lives together, and we kind of help with that. And couples come to see us and we just chat through stuff, you know. It's not really us. We as much as we can like to be a fly on the wall in a way and facilitate a conversation here about things that maybe they're not talking about yet.
Yeah.
But are important, you know, like your histories and your expectations, like not even knowing that, you know, you grew up in a house where your mum always took the bin out and your dad always washed the car.
Exactly.
And that family, it was the opposite. And then you come in, you don't know why you're arguing about these silly things, but it's not silly because your expectations are, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So we just kind of, for the most part, if we can, is facilitating a conversation between those two to be able to talk through heart stuff. Uh-huh. And if there are actual issues, then we hope to be a help to those things. And people who are married as well, just helping people to have successful relationships and even to work out whether marriage is what they want to do. You know, sometimes seems like a great idea. Is it your idea? Is it for you guys? You know?
Oh, that's good.
It's quite sobering work sometimes. Yeah. We've had scenarios. But yeah.
Yeah. when that question came out of my mouth, I was kind of like, Holy Spirit, why am I asking that when we're just talking about music? And as you were talking, I was actually getting some clarity. By the way, hi, Fabian. Thank you for watching. But I was getting some clarity as you were talking, because what I love about you and Kenny is that you have such a beautiful way of your careers and your personal relationship and the intimacy that you have as a couple. Like there is such a beautiful weaving together of it. But even though they're two separate things, like, music, that career, but then also your marriage. And I see that you guys, I know it's not perfect, but like you do it in such a way that, I'm trying to glean wisdom and learn from that. But like how influential is it to have a healthy relationship as you are an artist pursuing this God-given dream that is, larger than life, larger than you. And yet, how do you continue with like healthy, like how do you do that dance very well? Because I feel there's some artists that'll come upon this interview and they're getting the whole like, okay, I need to tour, I need to do this, blah, 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 the logistics, blah, blah, blah. But then like their relationships are a mess and they're isolated and they're lonely. And so how have you been able to kind of create health within that space, spiritually speaking and emotionally speaking?
I suppose we're still obviously work in progress, goes without saying. I think where career is concerned, I just remember a time, I can't remember how many years ago it was, where I felt like God say, like, whatever you say no to, like for family, it won't be a loss for you, Wow. And so I take that as like, if I've been doing too much or this is not going to be good for us, it's fine. I'm not going to do it.
Wow.
And fine. It will be fine. I don't have any kind of, I just don't, it will be fine. God, there'll be another opportunity, or that wasn't for me, or God's just going to make it right. It's just going to be good. So I don't have a problem saying no to stuff.
Wow, that's good.
Us. My thing is like saying no and trying to go, it's because of the family, but really, I'm afraid. But, there's also, I think I'm really fortunate to have someone like Kenny who I'm more assessing of the risk of the situation, and he's quite a risk taker. So when things come up, opportunities, he's like, okay, how can we make that happen? And I'm like, no, but what's else? Who's going to take me to school? And you're going to work. Yeah. So he is really supportive, and I'm thankful for that. So there's that.
Yes.
I can't think of the rest of your question. How do we make it work? I just don't hold on to my career stuff too tightly. That's just the way, okay. I go in, I'm about it. I've got goals. I make my plans with my manager, and I work hard. I want to do the thing, but it's not number one. There was a time before marriage where my career was so important to me. It was like the most important thing, really. Yeah. And somebody telling me, a few years later, like, I just thought you were so obsessed with your career. I was like, oh my gosh. So I have space in my heart anymore. And I think that's important because it helps me to make decisions in a healthy way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what I'm hearing you say is like, you're becoming very clear of what's the priority for your heart, like what God is like giving you gift wise. You're very cognizant of what the gift is in family and in your marriage, and things fall in line after that priority. But I find it oddly enough, when you're not holding on so tightly to the gift is actually when it flourishes beyond what you could try to make it on your own.
Exactly, because you're trying to make it something usually. And it doesn't take away from working hard and actually partnering with the vision and with God to, God's not just going to do the thing. I've got to do the thing.
Yeah.
So I have to work hard, and I have to, when I don't feel like it, or, times like now where I can't work during the day and I have to work at night. Can you listen, when you've had a long day, and then you've got to go and put in a shift at like 8 after, they don't want to go to bed. Yeah, and like, okay, I've just still got to do that. Otherwise, forward, you know. So I do have to put the work in, but it's just not a God to me anymore. And there was a time when my career was my God, and like,
wow, yeah,
that phrase, but it was true.
Yeah.
And I was in pursuit of like, no, this is the vision, and I feel like I've got vision for it. But it was like every waking moment, this is what was on it. This is all that was important to me.
I feel conviction. Like, I just feel such beautiful, sweet conviction, just because I, as an independent entrepreneur as well, with Together Good, this company that's like this entertainment and media company. And I just felt like it's a gift the Lord gave me. But again, I felt like the Lord's like, it's not going to take the place of me. Don't obsess. When you said that word obsess, my heart just got pricked. I was like, and because I'm a 3 on the Enneagram, and we can talk about that later.
Okay, you're healthy 3. You don't
Thanks.
You know what I mean? Like this, I usually can detect a 3. Like I can
I know.
Just don't give me 3 vibes at
No, I know.
Those 3 vibes that would be
I have gone through some inner healing. I have done a lot of inner healing in my 20s, so that I think helped. But for those that don't know about the Enneagram, I'll leave a link as well in these comments so you guys can know what we're talking about. It is, I had another guest talk about the Enneagram, but what's your succinct way? How do you and Kenny describe, the Enneagram?
Like he's the Enneagram guru. Like he's been taught, he's like under tutelage with the actual gurus of this thing.
This is amazing too.
He's the guy to tell you, sub this and that.
Yeah,
and
I don't know all that.
Literal surface, but it's a system of understanding yourselves and other people, I think.
Yeah.
And it's really, really helpful. It's helped our marriage so much. Wow. My children, like identifying what type we think they are, and then speaking to them in a way that is kind of their language.
Yeah.
Friends, so good. Yes. Like my business, us understanding each other and knowing, like, I just know how she's going to react to that.
Yeah.
It's just really helpful. It's just really helpful to understand others. Like it's helped. And to understand myself. I'm a 1, hard on myself, and it's just, I have the inner critic. Like, doesn't everyone have a voice in their head telling them that they crap all the time?
Oh no!
So
I thought you were a 4. But...
I'm high 4. High 4, but I am 1.
Wow.
The 1 you'd ever meet. So, like, learning that and learning how to, like, interact with Kenny and knowing when, like, my oneness is, like, hurting people around me is helpful.
Oh, man. I'm
a language right now. People who don't know Enneagram.
I know. But anyone that's been around... Yeah, it's becoming more and more known. We'll give you the links, all the things. I'll leave you links to Bianca's social media pages as well. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, thank you for listening. And I'll make sure that you guys have those in the show notes as well afterwards. But we're in closing. We just have a few more minutes left. And my last question that I start asking folks is, what's on your playlist now, today?
Ooh, what's on my playlist now? Dude, let me have a look.
Yeah.
Just have real time. Okay, so I discovered this guy called Nils from Nils, that's his first name, and Frahm. Discovered him, like, instrumental, but the most beautiful piano instrumental music. Lovely, 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 gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
Ooh.
Him today. Then Forever Amen, Stephanie Gretzinger, lashing right now. And there was an alarm going off next door, in the house next door where I live. An alarm that was going off all night. So only way, and the people moved out. The people are not living there, and there's an alarm. So the only way for us to drown it out at night was, you couldn't just put music on. You had to put ambient music, because ambient music and an alarm, ambient music cancels out an alarm because it becomes part of the white noise. So
yeah,
I've got an ambient music playlist that's been running
gosh.
Until the alarm. That's my other thing I've been listening to. Just saying.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Is that is it done? Is it fit?
Let me see what else is there. Recently played No, that's not recent. That's new.
Because we trust you. What's on your playlist? We want to know. We trust.
Who am I loving? I love this guy called Charlie Berg vibes. It's kind of like, he's an R&B but indie and cool. Love him. Been playing a lot in my car. Let me look. This list will tell me all the real tea. Eloise, and a British singer. She's so good. Like she's so good. She's jazzy. Plays piano. She supported Bruno Major, and she was in his band for a bit. Bruno Major, you got him?
Major.
Bruno, not Mars. Major. So lovely. You need Bruno Major, Eloise. Those are the two that you need to check out. Like,
this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. You did it.
I mean, I've got loads. So.
See, that's what we needed. I will leave a link at least to two of those artists on these comments, and again in those show notes when they come out. Bianca, our time is done.
It was so good. Chatting. The time flew by, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It did. Will you come back and hang out with us again?
We've got so much more to talk about. I think we must do this again.
Yeah, please. Absolutely. And next time I hope to tell you the correct time.
It's fine. Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. What are you going to do for the rest of your day?
Probably get all of the previews of this conversation, start uploading a lot of the stuff as I love it. It's just on the computer at home. I mean, what else are we doing right now, guys?
Yeah. The next time we talk, we won't be in quarantine. That's what we know for sure.
Listen.
I mean, we do know that for sure, don't we?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have you hang up first, and then what I'm gonna do for everyone that stays on with me, I'm gonna try and share my screen and play one of Bianca's videos from YouTube, so you can get a taste of what. You know what? I love you. Like, I'm obsessed with you. You already know this. I've told you this to your face. But the run and because I just discovered your run and hide, the live version that you did that's on YouTube. It's just like on repeat right now for me. Like when you sing live, and again, I mentioned this to everyone else. If her voice, the texture, am I wrong? Like the texture of her voice. I mean, you're hearing her speak now, but I mean her singing voice. It is what. Yeah,
singing voice doesn't sound like don't be put off by that.
I'm kidding. I wasn't a diss it anyway. But like I'm going to use a real churchy word, everyone, a real churchy word, but her voice is anointed, just meaning favored by the Lord, but you can sense the presence of God in it. And I was going to ask you a question about one of your songs that just came out, but I'm going to say it.
Ask me quick. Go on.
Blood in the Water.
Yes.
What
was that about?
Yeah.
Well, funny we were talking about relationships, because basically it's just about, you're going through the tough stuff and you're committed, like you're not going anywhere, but you're just like, but this is impossible. Like, I'm not going anywhere, but it's possible. Like, you're committed, but you're conflicted. Do you know what I mean? So it's just about that. And it's like, when things are really tricky, you're unable, or it's really difficult to see the good stuff. So there's a part in the chorus where it says, letting go seems easier to do than stay and work it out with you. We're scrutinizing the bad and the good till we've missed all the low-hanging fruit. And you can't see it. You can't see the good stuff. You can't see the literal low-hanging fruit, the stuff you can just pick and eat and it's sweet and amazing, because you just got all the stuff in the way. So it's just about that space, really. That's all.
Okay, on season 2, where I have so many more questions. This is great. I love you, Bianca. Thank you for spending time with us today. I'm praying blessing over you and your family as you stay healthy and safe and in joy and in peace. I love you, my darling.
Thank you so much. Love you, and all the best with this and everything that you're doing. All right? I'm supposed to, it's me, isn't it? Let me find the button.
I know. It's always an awkward ending. It's fine.
See ya.
Bye, my love. Bye. So, guys, here I am. I'm still here. Diana, are you still in the room? People kind of dip in and dip out, which is totally fine. I do a series of these live conversations. This is basically season 1. Getting ready to wrap up. This is my 4th guest on the season. Usually the interviews are an hour plus, so I have to break them up, and now I'm going to transfer them over to podcasts. So I know video isn't always everyone's jam, and listening to something on audio is much easier a lot of times. By the way, Diana, this says cowgirl for now. Cowgirl heaven. That makes me think of you. I hope you're doing well in Nashville. So that's that, everyone. I hope you enjoyed my talk and conversation with Bianca Rose. I will leave links under the comments, and if you're listening to this later on in the podcast, I'll make sure I leave you some notes where you can discover where she is. And we talked about her musician artist, her collective and community of musicians that are independent, and her collective is called I Am Independent. Oh gosh, listen, let me get the right name while we're doing this. So yeah, the handle is We Are Independent Artists, but the name of the collective is I Am Independent. And it's just a great resource for those of you that are musicians, have a calling on your life to either, whether it's write, produce, what have you, but just to have community and support. And again, just great resources. So again, this was, I don't know which episode. I will figure that out later. But I'm going to have one more guest. For those that don't know, I am making this a podcast as well. And so you'll be able to listen to, this is basically series 1. So we started with actor Aaron Mez from the Christian film Amazed by You. Then we had Bethany Mossberg, who is the content strategist, one of the content strategists at Bethel Church in Reading. And then we had hockey player to oil painter, Mike Wills. And now we've just had UK singer Bianca Rose. And my 5th and final guest for the season is TBD. But we'll wrap up season 1, and then I'll start working on season 2 guests. But I want to make sure I get all of these interviews up as podcasts. What I'll probably do in the podcast is add some of my commentary, what I loved about the interview, and kind of close out as well. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this conversation. And yeah, I did. I'm just getting a lot of good wisdom nuggets in the midst, which I think is always helpful. All right, I love you guys, and I will see you on the last interview for this season 5. By the way, the name of this series that I'm calling it is Patrice's Playlist Featured. And so we're always featuring a different artistic, entertainment, art person in the faith space. Because you know my story, I am a believer in Jesus, I'm a Christian, and I love putting out just encouragement and resources for those of us that are in the community. But also, I know many of you that are my friends are not in faith or not Christians, and this is a conversation that I'd love for you to hear as well. And if you have other questions about anything that we've talked about, hit me up on Facebook. Some of you already have my cell number. Text me or email me. I want this to be like a real conversation, not just between me and the guests, but also between you guys. That's why I love doing these live versions. Most people would just do these interviews not live and have all the craziness going on, but I want you guys to feel a part of this conversation, at least for season 1. And we'll see what happens in season 2. But thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.